The Apostle Paul says, "Consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things."
Liberty, mission control. Requesting lunar orbit status.
Lunar orbit T minus 2 and counting. Approaching terminator line.
Take me,
Roger that. Be advised, radio shadow contact.
Roger that. 710 plus GX.
up to the
Landing window
mountains,
is up.
into
Landing
quiet
vector approved.
bluegrass
Initiating third phase.
gardens. Take me, let's live together, lost in the moonlight, in the land of perfect dreams.
Begin descent burn, Liberty.
Landing coordinate Delta.
Close my eyes to see if memories reappear. Longing for those nights.
Looking good. Landing vector optimum. Touchdown in T minus 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now let's drop the banners.
Oh, must we?
Space, 100% fiction. How do you control the masses? Very easily. They control the media. They control the movies, the music industry. Everything you watch on TV, everything you hear on the radio, you are under 100% complete control from the New World Order, from the powers that be, from Satan himself, for forever and ever. This will not be stopped. They fool you that space is real for one reason, because the heavens are above. The lights in the sky are just that, they're lights in the sky. There are no other planets. The only way that you would believe this is through movies. And for the past 50 years, they've been training you that space and aliens are real. Subconsciously, you can't avoid it. So when someone tells you, look, we've been looking into this for years now, and we know 100% for a fact that we can't go into space because space is a total 100% made-up fiction by the people who rule this realm, this flat earth realm. And even the biggest truthers or flat earthers cringe when you tell them the heavens are above, even though they know they're hiding God. But you see, everyone is deceived, and there's very few people who are awake, actually awake. If there's 7 billion people, or 6 billion people, or 4 billion people, or 3 billion, whatever it is, they might be lying about that too, right? There's only a handful of people that know that the earth is flat and that the media is 100% ruled by a satanic faction. And they control us and rule over us and teach us and train us their way of life and how they want us to react and act and behave through their propaganda machine, which is your television, your movie theaters. So if they show astronauts spinning around in space, then you're going to believe that space is real because they can't actually show you astronauts actually spinning around in space and doing a 360 with a camera, handheld camera in their hand, as you see here. Okay, you'll never see an astronaut do what these people are doing in this movie because space is fake. Okay, rockets don't go anywhere into a vacuum or a space. If they did, they would have recorded it on camera thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times, which we have no footage of. Just like we have no footage of anybody spinning around in space and showing the third or fourth wall. It's not going to happen. They're hiding God because you are an enclosed system and you will not escape it until death, the heavens or above. This is the big secret. All right? I believed in aliens when I was younger. I figured the universe is so huge that there must be some life out there. But this is a lie that's been drilled into my head since birth, that there's a huge universe out there when in fact there's not. There is no universe. There's just this enclosed system. This is how big, this is how huge the lie is. And this is all to hide the fact that you have a God. All right? And they don't care that you understand that the world is flat because you're never going to prove any of these things. You're living in a system that they have 100% complete control over. Okay? Hundreds of years before you've been put on this earth, they already had this control. Everything's been in place. So, in reality, you can't board a plane and fly south and keep going and end up on the other side again. That's never been done. If Earth was truly a globe, there would be world records set yearly or monthly, right? Who wants to beat the record for the last flight around the entire globe from point A to point A, which has never been done? And quite ironically, the only time that's ever been done is in the history book with a cheap-ass plane with a 10-gallon tank. And today, no one dares fly around the world. Does that make any sense to you? It's just like the space, going into space and going to the moon. It's not done every day. All right? And no private space company will ever go into space because they're just other factions of NASA, other factions of the devil. They'll promise you we're going to Mars, but that'll never happen. Do you understand that? So you're not going into space. You can't fly around the world. You can't take a boat around the world. That's never been done. It's never been done. You have never went in one direction and came out the other side. It's just never been done. And if it was possible, people would be doing it all the time, and they would be records set for this. Because there's money to be made to be the fastest person around the world in a boat or in a plane or in a balloon. And it's just not done. It's just like we don't go back to the moon. And people come up with excuses why we don't go back to the moon. And so people come up with excuses why we do not travel around the world from point A to point A. And they make it up right out of their ass, a puff of smoke. Okay? Their answer makes no sense. All right? No one goes around the world. No one travels around the world. We are controlled by a satanic New World Order which incorporates all superpowers of this flat earth realm. You have the Queen of England, you have the Pope of Rome, you have Russia, Japan, the United States, and France. All right? And all the other countries are involved. And any countries that didn't bend the knee to the New World Order, they get attacked. All past wars and all recent wars and all wars to come are been manipulated by this satanic faction and made up by them. There's no reason ever to go to war. There has never been a reason to go to the war. It's been made up. And they used the citizens of all these countries as innocent puppets, telling them that we have to go to war, when in fact they're just sending their armies that they own, both sides, to maim and kill each other as they laugh at us and depopulate the world. All right? And all the news is propaganda, just like all the movies is propaganda. All the cartoons is propaganda. There's not a game show, because they're going to give you questions in the game show that's going to pertain to propaganda. If you watch a new movie, it's going to have the new propaganda for the new movie. Because they're lying to you, and they're telling you what they want you to know, so you're trained and brainwashed. And your whole entire life is wrapped around this brainwashing. Everywhere you go, you can't avoid it. They tell you what food to eat, what to drink. It doesn't end. And it will never end until the end times. Right? And then you have your fake shootings, your fake killings, your fake stabbings. Okay? The news is over 95% fake news. Whenever they televise a news event, it's because they created it. Either it was a false flag. And if they did kill somebody into this false flag, you wouldn't know it. Because what they show you is ridiculous. They'll show you a bunch of actors, crisis actors, that look ridiculous because they are. You can clearly see that no one died in these events. But you can't go around saying 100% no one died because, they do ritual sacrifices to keep the people under control. Because if you don't believe in the devil, right, they do, and that's why the 6 billion or the 5 billion or the 7 billion people, the inhabitants of this flat earth realm, are asleep because of a supernatural existence. The supernatural does exist, and they use this. They kill babies. They drink their blood. They eat their flesh. Okay? They are witches. They are devils. This is the only way to keep the people under control, because you can give them all this evidence and proof of what you're trying to tell them, and they will just look you in the eye, and they'll be all glazed and dazed, and they're like, I don't see it. They can't see it. Just like some people can't see that there's only one God, not 7 billion gods as people think, You can't have one person be created by another God, Some people say, why can't we worship our own God? Because I was created by the same God you were created by. Okay, that makes no sense. Now you belong in a insane asylum. Do you think there's a God for every person on this planet? No, there's only one. And if you haven't, had contact with this God, you're in big trouble. And this is the main message that you have to understand. And this is what you have to do while you're here. And this is what everybody tries to avoid. They serve themselves. They populate them. They make themselves popular. And they finance themselves through flat earth, which is fine. But once you start doing that, you enter the system. You're part of the matrix. Especially when you don't mention the real reason behind everything, that there is only one God. And by bending a knee and praying to this God is the only way you're going to find out the truth. You're not going to get it by reading it or picking a religion, because religions are by them. The New World Order made up all the religions, and they all made it look like Jesus Christ was a sun god. And they made them all similar. And they buried it. And the people waking up thinking, wow, I'm so smart, I don't think Jesus Christ exists in the Bible, is wrong, because you can't see it. And people get mad at you. And they want to do as they will and say, why can't we do what we want to do, Max? Everybody has a different variant of God and a creator. Well, you're not allowed to make your own God. Do you understand that? Because if God exists, what would that do? Wouldn't that cross you off the map? Like, okay, I put him here for this reason, so he comes to me, and now they're making their own God. Okay? They call it a creator, and they don't know anything else. I used to be atheist. Now there's a creator. Well, no shit, there's a creator. So you're back to square one. Okay? When you're an atheist, you serve Satan. When you're agnostic, you serve Satan. You understand that? When you say there's a creator and you don't elaborate or pray or identify this creator, you serve Satan. It's all the same thing to them. That's what this whole propaganda is in movies and cartoons and TV and the news and everything in this world and this realm, to keep you busy with your own work, your own self, your own thoughts, your own ideas on what God is. And that goes against God. So you're against God. So you are with the devil. You are with Satan. That's the most important message right there that people don't realize, and they're just content and happy with this word creator, and everybody has their own variants, and so there's 7 billion different creators, and they're like, which creator created you, Max? Well, my Lord and King created me, Jesus Christ. That's it. There's nothing else you have to do but bend a knee. It's that easy, that simple, but no one wants to do it. They want to be brainwashed by the New World Order. Why do you think there's a New World Order that kills babies and eats their flesh and blood? And then you sit there, oh, there's a different creator for each one of us, Max. Let them worship who they want. I don't care who they worship. I'm not trying to convince anybody to do anything. But it is my job to tell you. I am commanded to tell the truth, and I don't charge for it. I don't go say there's a PayPal or a Patreon account. I don't monetize my channel. Okay? I have a couple of channels, and one of my channels has over 1 million views on one video, and I didn't collect a penny from it. And that is taboo with all these new flat earthers. Well, we gotta monetize and make all the money from this now because we're so smart. So God wakes you up, gives you all this information, and you take the credit and the change, and give God nothing back by not mentioning Him, and you make sure you go against Him. Do you see the double jeopardy you put yourselves in? God gives you the truth of flat earth, you spit in His face, and then you monetize your channel, get on the radio show, you get a website, and now you're making money, and now you're part of the matrix, you're part of the New World Order, and God doesn't get any credit, He doesn't get any worship, doesn't get any mentions, and you're so smart because you woke up to flat earth while 6 billion people are fast asleep about it. Now, to me, that makes absolutely no sense at all. And saying there's a creator doesn't count. You're not identifying a God. Okay? You're making a God out of your own ass, out of a puff of smoke out of your own ass. And that's what you are when you do that. And on that note, I'm done and done.